What is going on, everybody? I am back for another Monday morning agent call review. This is something that everybody should have their mentor do for them. No matter whether it's a good call, a bad call, it is always extremely important to know what you're doing wrong so that way you can correct it and do what's right. Do me a favor while you're listening to this. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way you get notified of all my Monday morning call reviews and hell, every other video that I make. Let's get it started.
Hello?
Oh, hey, it's good to hear from you. This is Ray. We're calling you about the request you gave us. It was for the options on final expenses. You put your beneficiaries. So was that one for
All right, so a little stoppage early on in the game here. The first thing that I noticed is he's saying weird. It is really important to make sure that this demographic knows that it's just you and them on the phone rather than by saying we're just calling you, we're just doing this. It can make them feel like there's multiple people involved and that can lower your trust factor. So by saying, "Hey, I was just giving you a call about the information that you requested. You were looking into options there for final expenses." By saying I, that lets them know that it's you and them on the phone, and that's it. You always have to be very careful in what you say so you don't ruin your trust at any point. Also, another thing that I'm going to point out is he went right into a verification. I would always recommend giving a little bit of a pause with your opening line. Yeah, hey, I was just giving you a call for the information that you'd requested. You were looking into options there for final expenses. Give that pause. Let them acknowledge it so they know what exactly you're calling about. You never want to make them feel like you're bulldozing them in any way.
you or for a loved one?
Enough for me?
For you? Oh, okay, good to talk to you. Well, we just have to verify you. I seen you put your emails, and then your codes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we got the right person. Okay. Well, roughly how long have you been looking into options for final expenses?
For a while now.
Oh, well, okay. Did you currently get something already? Do you have some kind of coverage?
Uh-uh.
Okay, nothing yet. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-mm. Still looking.
Still looking. Okay. Is there any?
So I just want to point out that he's doing a really good job asking whether she has anything, how long she's been looking, maybe what is keeping her from putting anything in place. That is really, really key to figure out where they're at and just kind of establish what the call is about right out the gate.
Specific reason why you haven't chosen something yet?
No.
Okay. Okay. We're just trying to find the one that feels good. Try to
Mm-hmm.
understand. Okay. Well, let me tell you how we help. I'm a broker, so obviously I'm a broker. So for Texas, there's about 40 different insurance carriers that will do final expense. And so I'm able to shop them all, and we're just going to see which one will qualify you health wise, and then which one
Mm-hmm.
will give you the very best rate. So I'm looking for the lowest price too. Does that help out?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. So when it comes down to it, can you kind of describe a little bit more as far as what's got you looking into getting final expense coverage?
Is that for the burial thing?
Yep, exactly.
Well, I don't have any. That's the reason I was just trying to get some, but
Hmm.
my job don't pay that much, and I don't want to get no real expensive one.
Yeah. When you leave your job, will you be able to keep it, or are they the owners of it?
I probably will, cause
Okay.
I'm finna get ready to retire, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to get something before.
Yeah. Did they tell you how much it would cost to keep theirs? Usually it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Really? Oh gosh, yeah. They usually always are. So.
Unfortunately, he misunderstood her. He thought that she was stating that she had active insurance or some insurance through her job, but she doesn't actually. It sounds like she was just referring to the fact that she doesn't make a whole lot at her job, so she probably wouldn't be able to spend a whole lot. So, and it sounds like she's even confused by the questions that he's asking to her and thinking that it's pertaining to something else because she hasn't even corrected him on it. And this is going to be a really important factor probably as we get into the call because she's probably going to talk more about how budget is an issue. And if that's an issue, you really got to hone in on. I actually specialize in working with those on a fixed income. So you really want to hone in on certain pieces like that. Make sure that you don't miss key pieces of information.
So you're going to retire soon. You want to make sure
Mhm.
that you have your own that's not so expensive, and
Yeah.
you don't want to be a bill when you pass away. You want to make sure your family is taken care of. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's it.
yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Good to hear that you love your family. A lot of people don't take care of this, and their family has to pull out their credit cards and everything. If you
Yeah.
didn't have any kind of coverage, how would your family pay for it?
So another thing that I want to point out that he is doing fantastic on is she didn't really say her exact why, and maybe he could have gotten more of a why out of her, but maybe it would have led into some big long story, or she just wouldn't have even told him to begin with. What he did is he said, "So it sounds like you want to make sure that you're not a burden to your family and you want to get this taken care of so you're not a bill." By stating that, you're that's what almost everybody is getting final expense insurance for. Now, there are a few who have different reasons, but when that's majority of the time gonna be the main factor, a lot of these people aren't getting insurance because they don't feel like they're gonna be a bill. They're not getting insurance because they've been too lazy or or put it off too long. Maybe even because they had job insurance. He did a great job stating her why instead of really pressing for a why.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. It's tough out there. Yeah. So okay. Good to hear you love your family. Well, I can jump into the budget part there. I mean, it's pretty much the most important part of the entire
Mhm.
thing. So, we can show you $1 million of coverage, but if you're not able to afford it, then we don't want to talk about that one. But
No.
we want to make sure this is comfortable because when you do retire, if you're not able to afford it in 6 months to a year, they're not over they're not able to lower the coverage or lower the policy premium. So we want to
Uh
make sure
huh.
it's just comfortable. You can always get more insurance later. But what
Yeah.
did you feel when you do retire? What do you feel like is actually going to be comfortable? Did you want to find something that runs $100 a month, 150 a month, or what were you thinking? Yeah, no, we could do that too. It's all up to you, really. So we just have
Okay.
to see how much they'll give you for that.
So another great part on this script, he's uh maybe we could be a little more certain of what we're saying, but he's trying to get the budget out of her, making sure that they've got something to start off of. I definitely would recommend getting a more certain answer out of her. So she was kind of it sounded like she was maybe a little taken back by 100, 150. So well, 100, I guess. So when someone comes off as a little unsure of themselves, like in this situation, you want to reiterate it. So when it comes to $100 a month, you feel like that's something that's going to be affordable to you monthly. You always want to make sure, and especially with the budget, but any part of the script, you want to make sure that they do comprehend what's going on. Get confident answers out of them instead of just kind of glossing over it, especially with the budget. That is the most important thing that honestly the majority of people wind up regretting after the fact. They look at what comes out of their checking account and they're like, oh, that's too much. So you want to make sure that it's absolutely going to be something that they're going to be able to afford now and long term.
We want to make sure that you get the right type of coverage. Do you know the difference between term and whole life?
Um, a little bit, not a lot.
No worries. We try to make it simple. Term is just short for terminates. So you can get a 5-year policy, you can get a 10-year policy, but now if you outlive it, then it terminates, it cancels, it expires, and you have nothing left.
Okay, I ain't looking for nothing like that. So I
Okay.
must be whole.
Yeah, so those are the companies that you'll see on TV, like AARP, Globe Life, those guys, those are term.
Uh huh.
Very cheap. Term is
Oh.
very cheap. but
Oh,
it
okay.
expires. So whole life, just like it says, lasts your whole life. Your price never
Uh-huh.
changes because of your age or your health. You could pass away at 130 years old, and your family will still be
Uh-huh.
protected. So that's what we look at. Does that all make sense?
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's
Okay,
what I'm
perfect.
looking for.
All right, we're on the same page. So as we're looking through the companies, I'm already noticing some of them are taking certain forms of payment and others aren't. Do you use any kind of direct express card from the government or just a traditional checking or savings?
You just continue to check thing.
Yeah, just the regular stuff. Okay, perfect. They all take that, so
Uh,
you'll get the very best discounts and rates. It's big.
Again, she definitely sounds unsure of what the question is. That's not really a confident answer as to what he was asking. And I will also add that when it comes to checking or direct express card, when you're coming up to this part of the script, you have to be clear and concise to exactly what it is. And you have to let them know that there's going to be a monthly bill due. And with that monthly bill, they're going to require automatically drafted. There are still many people out there, even as common as what it seems, there are still many people out there who think that they can just mail in a cashier's check. And there's probably some companies that are okay with it, but the majority of companies we're going to deal with are not okay with something like that. And you, as an agent, should never want to get paid on somebody who's paying by a cashier's check or a money order or whatever it may be. You want to make sure that you ask it just as it is stated. So whenever it comes down to it, they're going to require an automatic draft, and I'm sure you're aware of that. But that automatic draft is going to come from either a checking or a direct express card. Now, do you use a traditional checking account? Make sure that you get a solid answer of yes, yeah, I got a checking account. Okay, so you got a standard routing and account number, right? Yeah. So you absolutely want to make sure that you get that for sure answer. Because just the other day, I had a guy who I said, "So you got a traditional, you got a regular checking account, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's all good." We go through the application. Luckily enough, the carrier that we wound up going through does accept a direct express card, but he wound up telling me, "Oh no, I just got a direct express card." Well, then he started telling me about how the name of the bank is whatever the direct express cards are, and he was thinking that that was his actual bank. So that is one thing we really have to make sure that you get concrete answers on.
On your age and your health. I'll start out there with your age. What's your birthday? Okay. And then what would you say
mhm.
your height and your weight would be on a good day?
I'm fine. I think I weigh about like
Okay, got it. Appreciate it. And then just some health questions. Have you ever been diagnosed to leave some money behind for the family too, or you just want enough to make sure it's all paid for?
well, yeah.
Oh, and also
Okay.
for this coverage, did you want it to be able to cover a burial or a cremation?
A burial.
Okay. And did you want to try to leave some money behind for the family too, or you just want enough to make sure it's all paid for?
Well, yeah, leave a little bit for the family.
Yep, if we can, we'll find it. Okay, that sounds good. I
Okay.
got some numbers. Did you want to write them down?
Hold on.
Okay, so two things. You always want to avoid asking anything that could potentially lead to them specifying the amount of money that they actually want. As I've said before, the amount of what money that they want and the amount of money that they have to spend oftentimes don't line up. So it's really, really important that you stay away from how much they're actually wanting. So asking, so are you looking for traditional burial or cremation? And then you ask, so are you wanting to leave anything behind? You're leading them into, well, I want 50,000 so that way I can leave a bunch of, leave some money behind. You absolutely have to stay away from that. They'll tell you how much they want if what you offer is not enough. So let them tell you that. And then you can tell them, look, you're not going to get it for the price you want. So this is how much that's going to be. The other thing is never ask them, well, do you want to write this down? Never, ever ask that. Remain the authority figure and control of the call by stating, hey, do me a favor, Miss Jones. Can you go grab a pen and piece of paper for me real quick? I just want you to write down a few things for me. You always have to keep that confidence so that way you're always the authority figure to provide them the information that they need.
Let me get a
Okay.
pen and paper.
Yeah, take your time. I want to ask before I give have at work.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think these numbers are going to be way cheaper than what they have at work. It usually always is. Work, I don't know why they're so expensive. I think it's because they're group coverage, so they kind of charge quite a bit to keep it. I want to ask you before I give you these numbers, if we're able to find if these numbers make sense and everything, it's a good reputable company. Do you want to see if you can get approved?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because they have to just check your health and make sure. So there's quite a range. So I want you to know for average price in the United States for burial, they say is around 10 to 15,000. They're starting to say 12,000 to $15,000. So I'm actually just going to start at 15,000 to show you what that is to make sure it's paid for. That would be just about $50.14 a month for 15 grand. If we wanted to leave some money behind for the family too, if maybe they can get the burial would only be 10 grand, hopefully. But anyways, $20,000 of coverage. That would be $66 a month. And $25,000 of coverage. That would be $82 a month. And I can keep going up. What do you think? Should I keep going up, or what do you think? 30,000. Just so you know, 30,000 would be right at around $102 a month.
No, we ain't going that way.
Okay. So out of those four, or out of the three, which one do you feel like fits you the most? Not just today, but long term after retirement. What would be the most comfortable?
Another thing I'll point out here is when it comes to giving them the three numbers, always have them write down 10, 15, 20,000 or 15, 20, 25,000. Have them write those numbers down first and take it slow. Don't be in a rush to give them the numbers. Make sure that they write those down. And then whenever they're done, okay, so 15,000 is going to be so much. 20,000 is going to be so much. And then 25,000 is going to be so much. Now, if they want to see 30,000, they will ask you. Again, remember, the more information you give somebody, the more unlikely they are to understand what you're telling them. So be confident in what you're going to give them. In this case, she said her budget's $100. Really, the options should be around $80, around $100, and then just over $100. That's how you should lay it out. And then she'll come back and say, oh, no, honey, that's too expensive. Or maybe she just picks the lowest amount, which is the $80. You have to give those ranges, make sure they write them down, and give them to them confidently. Because again, you are the professional, you're giving them your best recommendations.
I could do the 20,000.
Okay. That's a company called Trinity. And actually, Trinity can be so hard to qualify for, but I think that you're not taking any medications. You should be just fine. So it's perfect. They're a very old company.
Never ever want to mention how hard in this case that it would be. Now, you could play it off as, hey, look, so whenever it comes down to it, they are really strict, but the good news is you're in really good health. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make you look as good on paper as I possibly can. You never want to paint things in a negative manner. So by saying, oh, this company's really hard to qualify for, you're just walking yourself into them being unconfident in the situation. So definitely don't want to say it that way.
Plus rated, and when we can qualify, it's always a good thing. They have a concierge service as well, so your beneficiary, you know, when when you did pass away, your beneficiary would get
Uh-huh.
the money paid and rocking and rolling about 24 to 48 hours. So they don't,
Uh-huh.
so they do a pretty good job. But we can go ahead and see if we get you qualified. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay.
Let me hold on. Let me get some more quotes.
I understand. Well, how does that price sound so far, and what did you think?
It sounds good.
It does, because you've been shopping for how long? A
Uh-huh.
year?
Almost.
So I guess what is it that's not letting you make a decision? What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I want to see how much retirement I get, so I won't have to be in a bind or nothing.
Oh, okay. Like how much is going to be in your 401k, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so do you feel like if you have enough money in your 401k, then you don't have to get this?
Yeah.
That's an option. I mean, that's a good thing to think about. I mean, it makes sense. It's logical. So there's two things that I can just tell you. So
Mhm.
there's when people call me for final expense coverage, they sometimes they get it because they say, I have $20,000 in savings already for this.
Mhm.
I already have the money. The thing is, I can't spend it. So because I just in case. So they say, let me just get a small monthly payment, like $60 a month. Now I can enjoy my $20,000 that's just sitting in my bank account. So that's one option.
Uh-huh.
That's one thing that people tell me. The other thing that what happens to
Yeah.
people is, you've heard of course, you may know people who have gotten cancer and they
Mhm.
have large savings, but things like all those procedures, all those treatments will suck
Yeah.
their bank
Eating it
account
up.
dry, just eat it up.
Yeah.
So now they have cancer and they're not able to qualify for any final expense life insurance
Mhm.
anymore. And they're done. And
Yeah.
and they got in a
Uh-huh.
pickle. So that's why usually, especially that you're sick, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, do you want to give it a
Yeah.
shot? That way you're covered.
Mm, if so, I'll call you back.
I
But
understand.
let
I
me
understand.
look and see.
Okay. One other thing here, what we could do, because I'm afraid if you, we just had a person that we've been working with for 2 months. They weren't able to make a decision. They passed away. So it was kind of sad. And not saying that you're going to pass away, but if you
Yeah.
passed away tomorrow, is my daughter
That's my sister.
your sister? Okay, you would want them to get paid, right? Not saying that you're going to pass away, but
Yeah.
of course you want that to happen.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, so here's an option. It's just a suggestion. This is what we can do because right now, while you have someone that can help you with good price, it's kind of your best chance because you've been shopping for a year. I mean, if we don't help you, I don't know what's going to happen. You might not get coverage. So here's a suggestion. This is what
Yeah.
we could do. We can go ahead and see if you can get the approval. Now, when we get the approval, we submit the application. Now, now there's three things that this is the way it works. You have 30 days to decide whether or not you're going to keep it. Now, one, you can stay the course. The ball is rolling very slowly. You could shop for insurance until you're blue in the face. You could read the policy over, show it to your family, show it to your kids, show it to your sister. If you like it, you feel like it's the cheapest and best, you can make the first payment in 30
Mhm.
days if you want. Or
Okay.
two, in 30 days, you can make any changes to the policy you want before now and then, um, if you want to. Or three, if you find something that's better and cheaper, that's whole life, not term, but whole life, the good stuff. You find something that's better and cheaper,
Yeah.
then you can call the insurance company and they will cancel it with no pushback. They just pull the plug. So do you want to just put the application in and
Okay.
see where it goes?
No, let me hold on for a minute. Let me talk to my sister.
Okay. Well, Lula, I feel worried for you because it's been a year that you might not do anything, and then you might be someone who doesn't get coverage. That's the only thing. You know, that's
Okay.
all. You
Yeah,
never
just
know.
let.
Yeah, you never know when you pass away. You never know when you're going to be diagnosed with a sickness. You don't have any medicines right now. Next
Uh.
time you see the doctor, what if they start giving you medication? Your price is going to go up.
Uh.
Those are the
Yeah.
things we have to think about.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just? We could put the application. You have 30 days to just. You could just not pay it if you wanted to, and it will cancel out. It's not like it affects your credit or anything. They don't do credit checks or anything. You want to just put the
Okay.
application in? I mean, that way.
No, hold on till tomorrow. Let me check with her.
Okay, okay. If we do the application, that means that you're serious, because I mean, this is important, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if it's important, I feel like we should take it serious. I feel like we got to put in the application because what if you don't? What if you
If
don't put in the application? What if you don't get coverage? That's not good
well,
for the
I
family,
I
right?
keep looking. Right, but I keep looking though.
Okay, well, have you heard of a better price than what I just gave you?
Not yet,
In
but I
one,
got one more
yeah,
company to look.
yeah. So in one whole year, no one's giving you a better price than this. That says something, right? so
Yeah.
so there's there's usually I've been doing this long enough. If the price is fine, then okay. If you're happy with the company, then all right, you're good. But then the last part
Uh-huh.
would just be me. It
Oh,
do you feel like do you feel like we're trustworthy? Is there something going on? Do you feel like uh, w-
no, there's nothing
would you
going
do?
on.
No, okay. So then what's stopping you, Lula? We got to do this before you don't get covered here.
Uh, Well, let me talk to her, and I call you back tomorrow.
Okay then. Okay then.
All right.
Talk to your sister, but let me put something in the calendar to talk again because we've been trying to call you for about 4 days now, and I have not been able to reach you. So if we set something up
Oh,
in the calendar, I guess will you answer the phone? Can we do this?
yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah. It has to
Okay.
be at this time.
What time? What is this? 6:30?
About yeah. Well, it could be like 6.
6 o'clock? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll call you at 6. Now, do you and your sister want to read it over? Because then we'd have to do the application and send it out to your house. Or are you guys just going to talk about what I told you?
I'm talking about what you just told me. And
Okay,
see.
that sounds good. And if she says, "Well, I want to read it," then we have to do the application. And then we send it to your house.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll
All
put
right.
you down for 6 o'clock.
All
I'm going
right.
to call from the same number. Okay.
Okay. All
Glad to
right.
talk with you. All right. Have a good night. Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, so several things there. I wanted to just hear the whole last part of the call just to get everything all in one. Just a couple of notes. One of the things that he mentioned was the 30-day free look period. Okay, so occasionally you can do this depending on the situation. There's very rare situations where I would say yes. But if you're going to use the 30-day free look period, never say that you can cancel it. Saying you can cancel anything is just opening the door for a chargeback. You always want to say, hey, look, you've got 30 days. We can make any changes. We could take it up, we could take it down, move it all around. Doesn't make any difference. But that's what I'm here for, is to help you make those changes if you feel like you need to. So that's one thing. Another thing, do not be afraid to let the client speak. So the biggest mistake that I would say he made here at the end is really throughout the whole call is not really getting firm answers from her. It was always kind of, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I think this is good. You want to get for sure answers out of them of yes, this is exactly what I want. Or at least a, so this actually makes sense to you, right? Yes, yes. Make sure they're truly listening to you and truly hearing you. Now, especially there at the end, he just kept throwing things out there of, well, this is what some clients do. Well, I just had a client pass, and all these different objection handlers, but he really wasn't handling her objection. And why was not handling her objection? Well, because he never found out her true objection. So you need to find out. So, Mrs. Jones, why exactly do you not want to pull the trigger today? Right? So you get out of her that she wants to talk to her sister. Oh, okay. So your sister actually pays the bills. No, 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 no. I just want to run things by her. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get her on the phone. So that way we can talk about it together. We don't want to play the game of telephone, back and forth, and you may be getting something mixed up that she wants to know. So you really want to hone in on what that objection is. To be completely honest with you, she's been looking for a year. She still has nothing in place, and she didn't want to pull the trigger on one of the lowest companies out there. There's something else going on. She is very likely just a tire kicker. And this is something that he likely could have gotten out front maybe within the first 5 to 10 minutes. So this was a total of 19 minutes and 33 seconds. If he could have shaved that off to 5 to 10 minutes, would have saved him a ton of time. Always remember that you can move on to the next call then. So you want to spend the right amount of time with the right amount of people. And it takes, sometimes you get it wrong, but it's really important to do whatever you can to get it right. So you can't be afraid to let the client talk. You can't be afraid to ask hard questions to get real, true answers. So there were several parts where he did really great on, um, but some areas to work on is building that confidence. Never talk like you're in the plural position. Always want to make sure I. It sounded like maybe even at one point she could have been more interested, but he was coming off as very unconfident and unsure of himself in areas. At least that's what I was picking up. And it seemed like she was picking up on that also. So you really want to make sure that you're confident throughout the whole call. Um, and again, when someone is not wanting, is basically saying no, you got to get a true answer out of them. You got to get their answer out of them. Not all the time is that a true answer because they love to make shit up. So, but you want to make sure to get a clear answer of, no, I don't want to do this. Okay, well, Mrs. Jones, so whenever it comes down to it, is it something to do with price? Yeah, I want more coverage. Okay, so here's what I've done. I've actually went through 42 different carriers, and out of those 42 carriers, this is the cheapest rate that's available. So if it's the cheapest rate available, wouldn't it make sense to put something in place? Well, no, I've heard cheaper rates out there. Okay, well, I'll tell you, whenever it comes down to it, I'm not here to pull the wool over your eyes. I want to make sure that you actually get the cheapest rate. So it sounds to me like you're talking to people who are not really giving you the truth. So whenever it comes down to it, Mrs. Jones, I'd be more than happy to help you. Don't hesitate to give me a shout whenever that time makes sense. So again, she's been looking for a year. So it really does sound like she's looking for something that she's never going to get. And again, he started mentioning about, well, you want to have so much for your burial. You want to have, this will leave so much left over. By giving all those different options, it gets people thinking and thinking and thinking about things that they don't even need to really think about. So definitely want to make sure to add a little extra confidence there. With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you do me a favor, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below of what you thought of the call, maybe an area that I missed. At any rate, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.